G'day guys, Ride here, coffee coach with Liam, expert barista. Today we're going to be looking at a whole bunch of the news items that are upcoming for us. MICE, Melbourne International Coffee Expo, all the things that we're excited to see there. We're looking at the coffee price index, seeing where coffee is going, where it's heading in the next couple of months. We're also going to talk about a couple of innovations, as well as make for you a really nice cafezinho, which is a Brazilian type of coffee brew. And we're going to try and make it a similar way. We can't make it exactly how they make it in their traditional ways, but we're going to do our very best. We're going to be using our beautiful Brazilian coffee from Dolce, who is a wonderful, amazing woman, completely blind, but still is heavily involved in the coffee process and getting all that coffee to us from her place in Sítio Perinho in Minas Gerais. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Coffee chats. Firstly, while we're doing this and we're going to talk about the coffee price index, we're going to try and brew a cafezinho, which is a traditional coffee, and I'm probably butchering it. I'm sorry to all the people out there who speak Portuguese. I don't speak it very well. Cafezinho. Cafezinho. Oh. But this was gifted to me from my lovely friend Giovanna, who lives in Brazil, or lived in Brazil and has moved to Australia. And she knew I was into coffee, and she brought me back this brewer. And I've been making it wrong. Mostly I just used it as a filter brew and just put it in there and poured the coffee on and then drank it. It was all right. Now I've actually realized that I've been making it wrong all these years. And we're going to try and brew it the proper way, or a version of the proper way. So, get the kettle and get that on. We will get the scales. Can you get the scales?
All right.
Coffee is going up incredibly fast in price. It's already going to go up $4 per green kilo. So obviously when you roast, you lose some of that weight, about 10%. So $4 a green per kilo, it's going to go up, and then it's going to go, probably might look like it might even go up 90% more in the next 12 months, which is pretty insane. All right, so
here's one I prepared earlier.
So we've got the kettle here. So it does have sugar. Normally you would boil this on the stove with the sugar in the water. I don't want to wreck my lovely kettle, so I want to just do it a kind of a different way. We're adding in a teaspoon of sugar. Going to add in the water. We're going to have in there 250 ml of water. Now, they love serving their coffee super hot. We're going to just mix in the sugar. So this is normally when it's boiling.
Satisfying.
Yeah, lovely.
I think as well, when the water's boiling, it'll melt the sugar and sort of dissolve that as it's going. It will be a lot better than just sort of stirring it in.
Now we're adding our coffee. So we only want to put in about 17 grams for that 250. That's usually what they do. They use espresso grind, so they usually do it quite fine. I think might even be finer than sometimes. So just go here, and this is when you bring it off the boil, you put the coffee in, so you don't do this when it's boiling.
Yeah,
close. Yeah, there we go, perfect.
Okay.
And then give that a stir in.
Oh, it's like making a mud potion.
This is great. It's like chemistry class all over again, except I always failed, which looks like I'm going to fail again here.
It smells nice.
So yeah, coffee price is going up, and the reason it's going up is there's a few factors. Obviously, COVID, supply shortages, the shipping container shortages. There's everyone jumped online when COVID hit, so that's a backlog of all the orders there. But then Brazil, which is responsible for 35% of the global exports of coffee around the world, so a third of the entire global production of coffee comes out of Brazil. Brazil had two really bad harvests. They got hit by frost. They had really bad COVID through there. But they got hit by two large frosts, and that has meant that they've lost probably close to 11% of their entire production. So their shortfall is somewhere between 3 million bags of coffee, which is about, each bag is about 69 kilos.
60, 70.
Yeah, 70 kilos. So you're looking at 2.1 billion? 2.1, no, 21 million? I don't know, my math's not good at that level.
We'll figure it out and we'll pop it on screen for you.
Well, we'll just say yes. So 3 million bags of coffee is shortfall, and that is only going to get worse because coffee consumption is still going up, and if production is going in the opposite direction, it means coffee prices are going to go tremendously high, or people just have to stop drinking coffee, which I don't think is an option. All right, you take that guy. So yeah, we're going to talk about the coffee prices a lot in upcoming videos because people need to start recognizing that coffee, you've been gifted this miracle drink for centuries now and hadn't have to pay for it because of the exploitations around the other side of the world. Now you have to start recognizing it as a luxury item. So craft spirits, craft wines, craft beers, that level of drink is where you need to start expecting it. So it's not, oh, this cost me $5 for just this tiny piece of thing. It's, oh, this is $20. This is magical. I will appreciate this because I know how much work has gone into getting this to me.
Well, it's like you go to a restaurant and they might say have a house red, or like a house bourbon or something like that will only cost you $5.
Yes,
for a nip or something. You know that's not going to be as good as the $20 nips. It will never be.
Yeah, cheers.
Soji.
It's so sweet, but it's actually quite nice. I'm not a big coffee with sugar drinker, but I could drink this.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Cafe Cubano that we made.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the sugar.
Yeah. So it's interesting. That's just 1 teaspoon in 250 grams, and then we have diluted it. Well, we've filtered it through the cheesecloth, but that's still really sweet.
It's nice.
Very smooth.
Maybe less sugar.
I'd like to try it without sugar, but I wanted to do it the way that they make it, and so I wanted to really try and make it as good. Maybe the boiling of the water actually softens the strength of the sugar.
Maybe.
Yeah, so there is a real problem that people need to start adjusting their expectations about coffee because no one wants to give up coffee. I don't think I have spoken to any single person who drinks coffee currently and says, yep, I'll be happy if it doesn't go because I'm sick of being addicted to this thing, or I'm bored with paying this much money on coffee. Nobody's said anything like that. Most people have said, I'll leave this planet and I'll go find another planet and 250 million light years away just to find the coffee. That's the reality. We are coffee drinkers. We're a world of coffee drinkers, and so rather than thinking, okay, coffee needs to be cheap all the time, we need to be respecting it a lot more than it has, because I've been in the industry for 20 years. We were selling coffee for $3, maybe $3.50 in 2000. Now we're selling coffees for $4, $4.20. Some places are getting $4.50. But that price, $1, in 20 plus years, it's not a big jump when you consider some of the other markets have gone double, triple, quadruple in price. So, look at fuel, for instance. I remember even back as far as 2005, fuel was under $1 here in Australia. Oh. It was, we were laughing about how it's going to crack over $1. That's ridiculous. What are you thinking? Now we're over $2 most of the time.
Paying $2.35 for diesel most days.
Yeah. So coffee has to go up. I really feel for Brazil because they are just in a world of hurt at the moment, and because of their short supply, because of their shortfall, that just pushes all the other coffees up around the world. People think, oh well, I'll just buy African coffees. It doesn't work like that. The C price, which is now sitting at $2.15, it's a little bit lower than it was even when we did this a month ago. But the C price, the coffee price index, is the baseline that every other coffee around the world sort of prices off. So just like oil and other minerals. So with coffee, when the coffee price, the C price will go up, they're expecting it to go up to maybe $3.60 over the next 12 months. That's just pushing up the price of coffee all over the world. It doesn't matter, you can go, I don't want to drink Brazil, I'll drink a cheaper one. It doesn't work like that. Brazil is so critical, so huge in its supply, that it will continually be the one that affects the price of coffee all around the world.
And it's interesting thinking about Brazil being number one, and for Arabica,
Yeah.
right? Number one in the world for Robusta would be Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
I think that's still correct for the time of filming. For those of you who have stuck around in the coffee chats, we would have talked about a little cafe in Chicago, Viet 5, I think.
Yep.
Being able to sort of operate that whole chain.
Yeah.
They have a farm in Vietnam and they serve only Robusta.
Yeah.
Cheaper,
Yeah.
but they claim that it tastes great. So we actually have an interview with those guys coming up in a few weeks. Stick around for that. We're really excited. And we're going to get some coffee as well, and we're going to try it and see if, you know, let's say Arabica gets to the point of, you know, a coffee house where you do have to spend the money. Will you see more Robusta entering that takeaway market?
Yeah.
And if it tastes great, why not?
Yeah.
Say?
I think that you might have to, if you're not going to expand your budget, you're going to have to settle for some of those specialty Robustas and maybe even non-specialty Robustas, just like your commercial Robustas, to satisfy your wallet.
Yep.
And if you can't do that, then you're just going to have to pay more.
At the same time as well, I just took a kilo home. I took some of our Guatemalan beans home. I run mine through an AeroPress, about 15 grams each time. Worked out that it's about $2 a coffee at home.
Yeah.
Cheap as chips.
It is cheap. When you consider it like that, yes, you might go into a cafe and pay $10 for a coffee, and if that's just outrageous and you're just never going to do that, then buy a machine, buy a good grinder, and make all your coffees at home. Shout out to my mate Antonio. He has the greatest setup. He's got an LMLM, and he's just got, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, a new grinder, and it looks amazing. I'm really jealous because it's one of the grinders that I would love to have. My wife will never let me put that on the bench top, especially when I have $20,000 worth of grinders here. But, you know, that just goes to show that's someone that is really just appreciative of coffee, wants to get the best, you know, messages me, says, what recipes have you got? That's the person that I really can connect with to go, yeah, get the best out of coffee and really try, you know, pushing coffee to the next level to really understand how great coffee can be. And we all have to be on that journey. Yeah. You know, we cannot be supporting the $1 service station coffees, you know, that cheap international coffees, because they just support that idea that coffee is cheap. And coffee should not be cheap. And you'll hear me ranting about this because I'm very passionate about this particular thing, and I will take on anyone who tells me to GTFO because the coffee prices are too high. You wouldn't say that to a Rolex manufacturer, you wouldn't say that to a Mercedes dealer, you wouldn't say that about Dalma's whiskey, you know, that $70,000 whiskey. You wouldn't say that, oh, that's too expensive, because you understand that there's so very different things that have gone into that. So the coffee prices, we will see them continually rolling up. Interestingly, the monthly average rolling price is seemingly lower than last month, and quite a bit lower. It's going from, say, it was $240, $250, now it's down to $215. Prices are going up, so it's really interesting. We aren't looking at, oh, we'll cut prices for a couple of months. You know, the prices are just going up, 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 up. Doesn't even matter that the C price is going down. So yeah, expect coffee to keep rising. So next up, we're going to be talking about the big event that we're going to here in Australia, because we are so isolated from the rest of the world. We don't get to go to Milan and all the ones in Seattle and Boston and stuff like that.
One day.
We do get to go to Melbourne. Yeah, when COVID has settled down, we will get back over there. But we do get to go to Melbourne because they have the Melbourne International Coffee Expo coming up next month in the end of September, and we're going.
Yep,
and
can't
what
wait.
are you excited to see?
I'm just excited to be there. I think
It's your first time? You'll be popping
first
your
time.
cherry there?
We booked these tickets in 2019 or 2020.
I think it was 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
You went without me that year, and I got to see all the footage that you had and just that whole experience. I went, that looks great, let's go down.
Yeah.
And then the world went into a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Those tickets have sort of rolled on. I think I'm most looking forward to just being overwhelmed with the amount of stuff. You know what I mean? Be it all the new gadgets and toys and the new machines coming out, but also seeing the World Latte Art Championship as well. I think that would be really interesting as well. And just being surrounded with peers with that same mindset of really getting involved with it. I used to be a big fan of Supernova. Supernova is essentially the Australian version of Comic-Con. You know, it's a nerd's paradise. I go there every year, and if I can do that with coffee,
Yeah.
brilliant.
You're set.
I'm set.
Is there anything in particular you're looking to see? Like, is there any particular innovation that you want to play around with?
I think we talk a lot about new products like the Arco grinder. Let's say that was there. I'd love to touch it and feel it and see it in its whole.
Yeah.
You spoke about the RMD coffee machine last time you were there. And if you want to learn more about that, we have a video on it. It's see-through machine.
Beautiful looking machine.
See-through machine.
And when we say see-through, literally it's like a window through to the other side of the bench.
Yeah.
It's not like the glass fronts that you can get customized LMs, but this is one that actually wraps around. You see the shot, and it draws you in as a customer. You get to watch someone making your coffee. You get to see this way it falls. Get to see them making their milk. It's really good.
And I think the most exciting part is watching your journey a few years ago. Now you've got a producer behind the camera who will force you into things and might have already booked you into a few latte art competitions. It's sort of throwing you into the deep end and sort of making you on the spot sort of stuff. So
Well, I like to embarrass myself. Yeah, that's right. I've already done the worst I could do a couple of years ago at the latte competition, latte masterclass there. But yeah, I'm on my journey with the latte art. If you've booked me in for some comps, that will be really interesting. Be out in the first round.
Just
but
throwing you up on the big stage.
Yeah,
you know? So
yeah. Last time I went, I was pretty terrified. You know, it was not. I hadn't been there. I'd been there before, but I hadn't been there as a journalist or as a researcher, educator. So I, was pretty nervous about how people would respond to me there. People were great. I just really love it. And now I know a lot more people there, and so I'm more prepared. Got you on board to help me organise the dailies so we can go see each one and not just wander around and hope to discover something. I really want to get a grinder for home. Because I've got the decent espresso machine and I want something that complements that. And I was looking at a niche zero. I think everyone who's into specialty coffee looks at the niche zero as like the standard. However, having talked to a lot of people now, the disappointment they have from the niche zero has turned me off. It's a beautiful looking machine. It's white. It would fit the perfect sort of setup that I have at home. I've got a white house, white bench, white machine, so white grinder seems to make sense.
Sleek, it looks
small.
The same.
It would be perfect, but at the end of the day, I'm about the flavor. And if it does not give you the flavors or the details of the sort of the nuances in the flavor, and it's just giving you chocolate and caramels, as I heard so much, then I'm going to have to second guess that one. I'm going to have to just think about that a bit more, because there's other ones. I love the Webers, and I'm probably looking at a Key, but there's also the Arco grinder I want to have a look at. There's a couple of the other newer grinders that are coming out, but they're not as nicely designed, and they're not always small. Some of them are quite big, so I've got to be mindful about, other factors that aren't just about the quality. I just had unlimited money, and that was the only factor. Then there's an easy choice there, but yeah.
So obviously, MICE in its whole is such a big expo, right? And for businesses going in, there are coffee reps, and there's all the tools for commercial stuff.
Yeah.
What makes MICE so important for the home coffee user? Like, why would they book a ticket to come look at it?
I think it's just exciting because you're in this massive hall with just everything coffee. So you can walk through hallways you can walk through little alleys where you can grab a coffee of different types. Zest one year had this fantastic setup where they had the coffee and the flavor notes attributed to that coffee. So it was like pink Persian fairy floss and blueberry cheesecake and ganache. And then you'd say, okay, yeah, I want that as a filter or espresso. Then you'd have that coffee, and then they'd give you a little box with the pink Persian fairy floss, blueberry cheesecake and ganache and all of that stuff. So you could taste that. Now, it was a bit gimmicky, but it was really entertaining. And I think those sort of things, as gimmicky as they are, they really add value to a outsider who might not be in the industry but wants to see what's going on. There's things like that. There's roasters, there's demonstrations, there's latte art championships. They have the Brewers Cup there as well. There's cuppings. You can go and experience a cupping for the first time if you've never done a cupping before. They have them constantly. You can go see all of the latest innovations, tampers, portafilter handles. There's just so much there. Even if you never bought anything and you're just window shopping, it's you buy a one-day ticket and go through there. It's a whole day. You could be sitting there and then you get some food. You'll be coffeeed out at the end of it. But it's an experience. It is really, I would implore you, if you live in Melbourne or in Australia, go check it out because it's so much fun. Whether you're in the industry or whether you're just a customer or whether you're just interested in coffee, it's worth checking it out.
We obviously have a few interviews lined up with some big key players. We've got a couple events that we're sort of going behind the scenes. I want to put it out to those watching this. Sort of what do you want to see from MICE? We can be your eyes in this entire expo. So what sort of things are you looking for? And we can cover that as well. So pop that in the comments down below and let us know what you want to see because we'll make an effort to go and find that. And another exciting sort of thing as we're going to do up to MICE, we're going to be doing a little segment which is going to be the road to MICE.
Yeah.
And that will go through all of Ride's old videos.
Yeah, these are footage that I filmed, which when I looked back at them, I didn't really love how I was in them, or I don't know, I didn't really find it that good. I just got embarrassed and I shelved them. But, I've got over that hurdle now, and I really think that there's a lot of good stuff in there for you to just understand what sort of things are going on at MICE, just if you're interested in going. So we're going to be releasing them as little lead-ups to the actual event. And then, once we hit MICE, we are going to have a bucket load of filming footage, interviews, everything. For the rest of the year, we'll just be hitting you with everything that we got from MICE so that you are fully informed, and if you ever want to go next year, you can. So thanks for watching this episode of Coffee Chats with Liam. I'm Ride, your coffee coach. If you want to check out some of our coffee ranges, jump onto coffeebeansdelivered.com.au. You can see all the ranges and you can purchase this beautiful Brazilian coffee from our wonderful partners in Minas Gerais and Dolce's Farm. So yeah, thanks for coming on again.
Thank you again.
And thank you guys for watching. I'm Ride. Enjoy your brew.